banging misses and videos. While I'm with my freak like we up in the freak shows. Hit you with the shit, make you feel it all in your toes. Hot shh, got all my people in red clothes. Styling my metaphors when I formulate my flows. If you don't know, you're messing with lyrical player pros like that. You wanna party with me?
Welcome to another episode of the Walking This Way Impact Voice Podcast. I'm your host, Furman Jackson Jr., comes by Chastity Lobos. Today, we are honored to introduce our guest, a courageous breast cancer survivor and the host of the Facebook live cast, Crystal Talks Cancer. Please join me and welcome Crystal to the Walking This Way Impact Voice Podcast. Thank you, Crystal, for taking time out of your productive schedule this morning to join me and Chastity to talk about your adventures, things you got going on. You are a breast cancer survivor, by the way. Kudos to you on that, on beating that, and still here with us to this day. And not only that, with your message and your testimony, it inspires other individuals as well who go down that same path, that you don't give up. Don't worry, that God got you no matter what the circumstance is, no matter what the doctors say. At the end of the day, we know that God has to finally say so. So, Crystal, welcome. Thank you. And coming on with us this morning. Chastity, how are you doing this morning? We're back here again. As a matter of fact, we run another show tonight at 7. We're talking about the community and mental health. Looking forward to that episode. But other than that, Chastity, how you doing this morning?
I am great. I am great this morning. I am kid free, so I'm doing wonderful today.
She rubbing it in and stuff.
Thank God for Granny. But I am doing good. It is a great day, and I'm so excited to hear about the show today and hear about everything that you have going on and what you have accomplished. Just know it's going to be something amazing.
Thank you.
Man,
Look, you ain't have to rub it in. You kid free, and my kid over here watching Planets on TV. I'm like, turn the TV down. Mama doing something.
They don't.
They don't at
I
all.
love
You
it.
hear me? Yeah, they do not. And my youngest is autistic. I always put that out there because, baby, God will send you what you need.
That's right.
And when I tell you my baby, he was the reason that I even went to the doctor. I was waiting for my off day, and God used my son, nonverbal. He stopped eating, and you were saying, thank God for grandmas. I was at work, and my mom was watching him because me and my husband were working. And long story short, girl, he stopped eating. My mama was like, oh, he's not eating, he's not drinking, and he's, something going on. I got off work. And when I tell you, I pouring down rain, it was like a rainstorm here. I'll never forget that day. It was pouring down. I grabbed my baby with his coat. And I told my husband, let's saddle up, let's go. We got to take him to the doctor. But I had already known that I needed to go. But I was waiting for my off day. So God was like, nah, you're not going to keep waiting. I took my baby to that doctor's office, y'all. And he started playing like nothing was wrong with him at all. And I'm looking at him, the doctor's looking at him, and it was like, well, since we're here, come, check this out.
Yeah.
And I go to the back, and that's when my journey started. That's when my journey started. So I tell people, even with children with autism, like, you have to pay attention because God will use anybody and anything
Yes,
to
he
get your
will.
attention and to wake you up. He'll use
Yes, he will.
anything.
Amen to that.
Sure.
Wow.
And that's true. And I said, you're no stranger to the podcast, Crystal, of course. I know we done the show. We had to run it back with technical difficulties. So we did it. Got a schedule, and we're here this morning. So Go ahead and introduce yourself to the audience here on the podcast. Give us a background. I know you're doing a lot of great things within the city of Dallas and surrounding areas as well. And also, we want to give a big shout out to everyone who's affected by the storm. I think some people are still out due to the storm. I think I see people posting on social media. And some areas, I know here in Arlington, my lights didn't go out. My lights were still on here in Arlington. But I know in some areas of Texas, some lights are still out. So we want to give a big shout out to those who are being affected and still staying there. I know it sucks without lights. So hope they get those lights up and going. But back to a further note, go ahead and introduce yourself, Crystal, to the audience here on Walking This Way Impact Voice Podcast.
So my name is Crystal Whitaker. You can find me on Facebook under Crystal Smallwood. I know everybody knows me by Crystal Smallwood, so I'm like, I'm gonna leave well enough alone. But I am I'm Crystal Whitaker, and I do a podcast called Crystal Talks Cancer. A lot of people ask me what made me start that podcast. Well, going through my own journey, I noticed that there was a lot of questions that I had. There was a lot of, you know, insecurities that I had going through the journey. And I wanted to really talk to people and connect with people who understood me. And it was really hard because everybody, and especially in our community, we quiet. Like I didn't know my cousin had breast cancer and went through surgery. She went through chemo pills. She had a double mastectomy and everything. And I had no idea until I was diagnosed with breast cancer. So I was like, this speaks volumes, not only for my family, but for our community as well. We always hold stuff in. And I was like, we need to talk. We need to put it out there. And I remember just being obedient. And, when I was first diagnosed, it's a lot on your mental and it will take you there. But in the beginning, I told God, I said, God, as long as you walk with me, I'll be as transparent as you need me to be. I
Amen.
don't know where it came from. It was just one of them things like, you got to do it different. My pastor, some of the deacons at the church, some of just random people came to me and basically had the same message. Like, you're quiet. And this is one of those times where you can allow other people to see God work through you.
Amen.
And it came to me that way, but from a lot of different people. And I was like, God, what are you saying? Like, what am I supposed to do? So that's when I prayed and I said, God, I'll be as transparent as you need me to be as long as you walk with me. And in me praying that prayer, I kid you not, maybe a week later, my nurse navigator, she called me and she said, hey, I want you to talk to these ladies. I don't know where it's going to take us. I don't know, what's going to happen with this, but I want you to just she said, you can say no. She kept telling me, like, if you don't want to, I understand, you can say no. And I was like, okay, this is weird. Well, these women from the foundation at the hospital that I went to, they were like, we really want to capture your story because it's just a lot of amazing things that we've heard about you with your navigator and some other people. And we really just want to capture your journey. And it'll allow for money to be raised to go into the organization that'll help people be able to get mammograms and help the navigators, the nurse navigators, continue navigating patients through their journeys. Well, that was the door that opened. And I was nervous, but remember, I just prayed and I told God, I will be transparent as long as you walk with me. And so I was like, okay, God, I see what you did right there. That was quick. That was quick. That was really quick. And what they didn't know was I couldn't say no. I could not say no because I had already prayed. And I think a lot of times we forget that when we tell God we're going to do something, we got to do it because imagine if he's like, well, I'm going to deliver you from this. And then he changed his mind. We never think about it that way when we backslide or when we deter from the plan or the purpose that he has for us. We never think about what if God just takes his hands off of us. You know what I'm saying? So I was like, purposely moving forward. And with that interview, it was like none of the a lot of times people will send you like mocks, right? Well, this is what you kind of would look forward to. It'll be something similar to that. Well, none of those mock people looked like us. And I was like, it's about time to get awareness around our community, our mental health, our
Yes.
physical health. It's time to shed that light. And if I have to be the sacrificial lamb for this, God, as long as you walk with me, I'm gonna do whatever you need me to do. And from that point, he started keeping me up. After I prayed that, he kept me up and it birthed Crystal Talks Cancer. One night I was just insomnia. I was going through chemo and I couldn't sleep. It's like, God, what is it? I was tired, like really physically tired. But every time I lay down to go to sleep, I couldn't rest until I posted this long post and I started asking ladies, like, hey, is there anybody who wants to share their stories, be transparent, and help those who are coming behind us navigate through this journey in a loving, supportive way? And so that's when I met a few ladies, and I'm thankful and I'm blessed because some of those ladies never got to share their stories and they're not here. But in so many ways, they're the force that keeps me moving forward. And I noticed that when you're doing things decent and in order and you're being obedient to God, that's when you have the most challenges. Like this past week, I have been tested so much, y'all. And going and doing this podcast and meeting these people, being transparent, I have been tested more than I have ever been tested in my life. Do you hear me? Like when you doing stuff for God, and I just want people to understand that it ain't gonna come easy. Like you gonna have people that's gonna show their face. You gonna have situations that make you feel like you want to give up, you want to throw in the towel, but don't do it because that ain't nothing but the enemy trying to deter you from doing what God has for you. And the more you turn around and you keep going backwards and you keep letting the enemy win, the longer it's going to take for you to actually get to your purpose and walking in alignment with your purpose. So yeah, Crystal Talks Cancer is just that safe space to allow women and men to come and talk about their cancer journeys. And it's not just breast cancer, it's any type of cancer. And even if you have a family member who is affected by it, it's a safe place to come and get support and to talk about the things that you've noticed and that you've gone through and what helps. And people even come to me and they're like, what gifts do I buy people? It's all around support for everybody who has been affected by cancer in one way or another. Furman, we were at the pitch competition. So again, God don't he when he has a purpose for you, he ain't gonna let you sleep. So you saw part of the background noise that I'm making because he gave me another vision in helping people be okay with their physical. And it was really hard for me being 32 and having a double mastectomy and not seeing my body, just brown skin. Now I got scars everywhere. And it's a mental thing, but you have to also think about women who don't have breasts at all now. They've gone flat and maybe it wasn't their choice. But at the same time, we have to learn how to embrace and accept and love ourselves. So I pitched my vision for my studio, which is going to be something that y'all have never seen before. And I'm excited. I have a lot of work to do, and I'm actually making moves after this podcast to assure that things are done decent and in order. So it's a daily thing, but when God gives you, he ain't gonna give you the end. He gonna give you the pieces, and he places people in your way for a reason. Furman, I don't know if you knew, in that room was a banker that I was supposed to have met. We were meeting each other, and it wasn't time for us to meet. It's so funny how it happened. She sent me the email to meet her, and I went to the bank. And when I went to the bank, she was at the other branch of the bank. And I was like, wait, I'm over here and you all the way over there. How we gonna do this? Because I was like, we got two different addresses. Baby, she was in the room. I'm walking around just being me and meeting people and engaging with people. And this person that I was supposed to meet was in the room. And I walked up to her like, hey, what's your name? What brings you here? And she was like, her name is, and I was like, we were supposed to meet and we didn't. And life turned up a few notches. So we definitely haven't met. And she was like, you really need to come and see me. When I tell you, God is like, his timing is perfect. We can't we can't debate his timing because it's perfect. Because the enemy planted a seed in my mind that in this season you got a lot to focus on, and that right there is like not the primary because you got a lot going on in your world. But going and pitching and having that interaction in that time, it was like it was right on time, and it has me back focused. Although I was still focused, but it has me more focused on that part of the journey now. So God's timing is perfect, y'all.
And
I don't
always. And
know.
you said something too. You said that when you stepped in the room, you was being yourself.
Yeah.
and that's what it takes, being yourself. That's why
Yeah.
I got to give a big shout out to my little brother here. When he was in the comment section a couple of days ago, and this young man's I like this young man because he's always himself. He doesn't care what people think or what they say. He always himself. He don't try to impress people. He don't try to pretend to be something he's not. He's always himself, and I love that. And that's what people say. They respect realness, and
Yes.
when
Yeah.
you real, they gravitate towards that. And you said something. You said, Crystal, when you was in the room, you were just being yourself.
Yeah.
Say that for those that's in the background. You can say it one more time.
Listen, listen. And when I told y'all I have been tested this week, so I'm not gonna go into details because I don't believe in giving the enemy a platform. But whenever I'm speaking, I have learned that people do not have to understand you. They do not have to understand your struggles, and they do not have to agree with everything you do or say. And it goes both ways. You don't have to agree with everybody, but respect still remains the same. Growing, the enemy is going to constantly try to attack you, but you have to remain true to yourself. Okay, it ain't no backslide. I used to backslide, and I used to just fall. I stooped to levels that I should not have stooped to. But when I tell you that change that God has made in my life, it's real because I'm able to remove things not aligned with my purpose in this season. Can y'all hear me?
Man,
Because
that's
my phone, spam
yeah. We
calls is
heard.
coming through. I didn't put on do not disturb.
Yeah, you good, man. Before we go any further, I gotta give a big shout out to Kerry K. Zag in the comment section on YouTube. The Return of Manhood. He said, "Salute first. Shout out to these sisters, counsel to my mom in 2016, so it hit close to home." So I want to give a big shout out to Kerry K. Zagging, the Real Game No
Yeah.
Theory panel, the Return of Manhood. Manhood is a mindset. And matter of fact, on the YouTube side tonight, y'all need to check out the Pineapple Show with Kerry K. Zag and Stevie Dean Williams on Mr. 1950. It's a great show for men. Women do tune in and watch. It's a great show. It's very entertaining, very information as well. So, man, y'all make sure y'all tune in. It's tonight at 7 p.m. Central, 8 p.m. on the East Coast. Y'all turn into the Pineapple Show with Kerry K. Zaggins, Steve Williams, and Mr. 1950. Make sure y'all follow those great men to meet great men who changed my life with their information, their wisdom, their coaching, their mentoring. Great stuff for men to tune in. Like I said, ladies do tune in as well. So I just want to give a shout out to Kerry K. Zaggin for being in the comment section this morning. So we're back here. Chris, you go ahead and finish. I know you was going in. I know you had the spams coming in, but
I know. I was just saying, like, being yourself. And I used to be so quiet. So everybody used to always say, what's wrong with you? What's going on? What you thinking about? Because I just had this mean resting face. You know what I'm just being honest. I
Yeah.
had a mean resting face, and it was like the inside of me just wanted to laugh and joke. And then I'm like, well, how people going to perceive me if I, show that side of myself? And there's traumas behind it. But learning and going through this journey, it's like I allowed the real me to just show up. And I dropped all expectations from other people and their opinions and support. So it's so freeing, y'all. Just being yourself. Like learning to be yourself and learning who you are and knowing who you are and stepping into your truth and being unapologetic about it. That is the most freeing thing in the world. Do you hear me? Because
and
I want to
hey,
have fun.
you, I'm glad you see we've been talking about this on the show lately, Chris, and I'm glad you brought that up. Being free, free from other people's opinions. I mean, people have their own opinion regardless, but at the end of the day, you still got to live your life. You still got to move on, move forward with or without people. And that's what people have to understand. Like the scripture say, whom the son set free is free indeed. It's all about being
Mhm.
free. And where the spirit of the Lord is, there's liberty. So God wants you to be free. He wants you to enjoy life for not be weighed down, not be slaves to what other people's opinions. You know, a lot of times
Mhm.
individuals now they look for validation from other people instead of just getting out there and doing it. If you
Yeah.
fall on your face, so what? At least you did. You took the attempt to make it, to get it done, instead of just wait on the sideline looking for validation for someone. And a lot of times
Yeah.
people look for validation from people instead of just get out there and do it. Trust me, the right people gonna come in your path. You just gotta make that first step. Willing and obedient, right? If you willing and
Yeah.
obedient, you're gonna eat the good of the land. Isaiah 119. I just want to throw that out there. Chad, you
Amen.
have anything you want to ask?
I don't have anything that I want to ask. I just want to say something. First of all, I can be a very emotional person, so I was over here trying not to get teared up. But I do want to say something that you said when you was just like you was doing the mock interviews, how it was people that did not look like us. And that's where you felt like I need to put it out in our community. And I thank you for that because we don't do that enough. We don't, get it out to our communities enough because true enough, our community come from, we don't trust doctors, we don't trust, so we don't go to get our checkups like
Yeah.
we supposed to. We don't, and it's kind of normal for our community that we don't do these things because it's not talked about enough that we need to do it. So I thank you for that because like me, one of those people, my parents, they're old school, especially my dad. He from the old school where it's just like, treat it with some honey or natural stuff, and it's just never go get checked up, so we never know what's actually going on in our body. And
Hmm.
so I thank you for saying that because it's things that I need to go to the doctor. I need to go and get myself checked. Make sure everything's okay with me. So it kind of hit a little home for me. Like I said, a little emotional, but I truly thank you for that. Thank you for letting God use you and sticking to that because most of the time people veer away, especially when the devil comes hard, and the enemy will come hard, especially
Oh,
when he know
baby.
that you on that right road. So it gets hard.
Oh,
Oh, I know
baby.
it gets tough. But I thank you for staying in there. Thank you for staying in there, getting over those obstacles, fighting through it. Because one thing about it, on the other side is much
Oh,
greater
yeah.
than what we could ever imagine. So I just want to say thank you for that. Truly
Yes.
thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you.
And what's
And I
that?
wanna, I,
Go
I
ahead.
do want to say this to you, because I know, and I want to be clear. Like, I don't discriminate on the podcast. So we have all different races and ethnicities, lifestyles, and so on and so forth. Um, but when it comes down to being transparent, it is challenging. But whenever you go to the doctor, and I do want to make sure that I say this out loud for everybody, um, because a lot of times we do have things. I talk to a lot of people in the backgrounds that people have no idea. Like, I'm the weird person that's in people inboxes when I see that they're struggling in these groups going through their journey. So I'm like, hey, I'm here if you need somebody. I want to be here, help you get through, help you with this. And it's it's hard to hear that, oh, well, my doctor found this 4 years ago and they didn't do anything about it because they said it was a benign cyst. Okay, what I want to make sure that everybody understands on here, when it comes down to cancer of any sort, no doctor can look at it on a screen and say whether it's benign or cancerous. We have to educate ourselves and make sure that we get biopsies. Do not allow, one opinion to make you secure in whatever it is that your doctor telling you when you feel like, nah, it's really something going on with me. I just had to advocate for myself because going through chemo, it messes with your microbiome in your stomach. Like, it messes up everything. Chemo kills good cells, bad cells, anything that gets in its way. Right? It does its job. I thank God for it. But it also has side effects that you have lingering. And they were kind of like, well, there ain't nothing wrong with you. It's mental. A lot of people go through after they beat cancer, they feel like everything is wrong with them, and 9 out of 10 is nothing. Well, I ended up going to the doctor, finding out that I had a stomach bacterial infection. And the way that it was explained to me, I could have gotten it when I was a little girl. And this is the weirdest thing. Like, you mean to tell me I've been carrying this around since I was little? And he was like, you could have got it when you were little and it just been there, but it was dormant because of the fact that you had good bacteria in your stomach that was fighting it. It was combating it and keeping it at bay. But after going through chemo killed everything, and now
Mhm.
it is here. So what happens with that is it grows and it becomes worse. Anything that is left untreated, we don't know what it turns into, right? Well, he
Right.
told me that it could have turned into stomach cancer. Something so small that I can take pills for, right? I took 14 rounds, 14 days of antibiotics. Don't get me wrong, it was a lot of pills. It was a lot of pills. But I took those 14 pills and I have to go back to make sure that it cleared it up. But just imagine how, if we catch things in the beginning, it stops it from manifesting and becoming something worse. So make sure that whatever it is that's going on with you, I don't know what it is. And I'm, listen, I tell anybody, if you're watching and you have something going on with you and you need a question, I'm that weird person. Like I'm telling y'all, after you go through breast cancer or any type of medical illness like this, it makes you more into wanting to help people. Some people, I ain't gonna say everybody. Me, it made me want to help people. And it's like I don't view myself as um I'm gonna put it like this. I view my body now as a learning experience. So I was just on last night with with the young lady that I jumped in her inbox. She's just started her first treatment. And I'm already talking to her about her surgery options. Like, what you thinking? Because the more you go through chemo, the more wore down you may become, the more your mind may start doing everything else. And you're not gonna want to think about what surgery am I having? So we've already started talking about surgeries and all of these things. And I was showing her. I was like, this is what it looks like that you will have if you go with this particular surgery. I have flat sisters that will show you and have pictures on their social media of them being flat. So, just make sure there was a few things. That you get a second opinion if they telling you that it's not what you think it is, and have that support. Find that support. Jump in my inbox if you need to. That's where I was going with that. Chemo brain took that and it went somewhere else. But that's where I was going with that. If you have any questions about anything surgery related, whatever, jump into my inbox. I've had women and men who have jumped in my inbox and said, "Hey, I went to the doctor and they told me this, and I feel like it's really something going on with me." Okay, well, then we need to advocate because your age, being in your 30s, it's like we don't want to do mammograms, we don't want to do biopsies if there's not a reason. Well, they didn't want to do it for my stomach at first, but I had a family history. That's the only thing that helped me. That was the one thing that helped me get all the colonoscopy, the endoscopy, the gallbladder, like that helped me get all of that. But for a lot of people, they don't have a family history. But that doesn't mean that they should be turned away. So now you have to advocate and have a team to help advocate for you. Or, just reach out to people to see if they have connections to a doctor that will help you. There's more than one way to find out. Don't give up on your health because it's like giving up on yourself. And I want to just make sure that I make that very clear on here today because health is literally wealth. Berman was saying before we got on that he was in the gym at 4 o'clock this morning. And I'm
Mm-hmm.
thinking to myself, at 4 o'clock this morning, I'm pretty sure I was rolled over. I was rolling over, but I gotta get there. I'm trying to get, and it's encouraging though. It's inspiring. The things that
Yes.
we see. A lot of people spend all day on social media, and if they're looking at things that are motivating them to do better, then they will do better. But
Yeah.
if they watching crap all day, then they just gonna be in that endless cycle of unnecessary, useless information. So, Furman, I
Right.
do want to thank you for sharing that when you do go to the gym, and even with the podcast and all of the great messages that we get here and the great people that come.
Hey, and I appreciate it, Crystal. It's fun. It's exciting. This journey has been fun for me. As I've been doing this since 2009, and I'm still going strong to this day. But I'm excited about it because we always evolving, right? We're always evolving, always growing,
That's right.
nonstop. And also, I want to apply the men, also, Crystal, the husbands who are married to their wives who are cancer survivors. And I've seen pictures on social media where the wives' breasts are gone, but their husbands are there with them. and hugging on them and embracing them. That's what it's all about. When you say these vows, for better or worse, for sickness and health, I applaud those men who stick with their wives, who went through counsel. You feel me on that? And they're not, and they loving on their wives. You see pictures on social media. Their wives, their breasts are gone, but their husbands are loving on their wives and not ashamed of it.
That's right.
Your mic is muted, Crystal. Yeah, your
Why
mic
it's
was
not letting
muted.
me do my Bluetooth now? It wouldn't let me do my Bluetooth. Oh, there you go. It came back. No, I was saying because my husband is the MVP. You hear me? And that goes back to that's the whole relationship talk though. That goes back to the foundation. Because a lot of times nowadays, everybody wants things to come fast. And it just should not go like that. Everybody's like, well, you've been married forever, so you don't know what it's like out here in the dating scene.
That's a lie.
Okay, well,
That's
if your if the morals should remain the same, it ain't changed. People change. But as long as you stay true to yourself and what you deserve, then you're gonna attract that energy. Me and my husband have been friends since middle school. So it's like at this point, it's like what are we doing? This man twisted my hair. Baby, my hair was looking all kind of messed up. And we decided we gonna lock hair with he wanted locks in his hair. I done locked his hair up. I ain't know nothing about locks. I wanted to lock my hair. And he was like, okay. And I needed a retwist. I was like, baby, my head looking a hot mess. And yeah. It's that connection, that love, that communication, that foundation is so important.
Yes,
You have to marry your best friend, but you have to know and learn and experience people before we jump into the physical. You got to really get down and know somebody before you just make that leap. Because you just never know, baby. But I see things, but I done been out of the dating scene. I'm gonna mind my business. But
hey, I ain't gonna lie. Humans are weird. Humans are weird. And I see it all the time myself. Humans are weird. Before we go into further, we'll take a quick commercial break. Then we're gonna jump right back into our morning podcast.
Talk to me.
You gotta trust, Mike. Trust yourself. Trust the universe.
What? Marcus,
I got this, Mike.
what you don't know?
Be gone, Gator.
I rebuke you.
See, Mike, that's how you command the universe.
That racist, Mike. That racist.
Bad boys.
Hey, what's
You
up,
can
everybody?
involve
Welcome
water.
back here on the Walking This Way Impact Voice podcast. This is our Wednesday morning edition that we're doing. And we thank everybody for tuning in. We thank everybody for their comments as well as in the comment section. Also, big shout out to Crystal, our guest this morning as well. Also, thank you for taking time on her productive schedule. I want to give a big shout out to Ms. Edwards in the comment section, Ms. Richards in the comment section. Big shout out to Girls Kerry K. Zagan from earlier. Big shout out to Felicia in the comment section. Big shout out to Miss Roberts in the comment section. Big shout out to Sheena. And big shout out to Cassie in the comment section as well. We don't want to forget anyone who's tuning in this morning. And thank you, everybody, for tuning in and leaving their comments. Ms. Edwards said, yes, we're more aware and want to share them with others. I'm glad now we have more information now. They were a lot open to a lot more information compared to years ago. Now we have access to a lot of information on tackling things early, like you said, and getting information, spreading the awareness. Because a lot of people didn't know more about this. The more you get educated on, the more enlightening you will. You can better pass this information on to others who need this information. And I know, Chris, when you went through that journey, what was going through your mind at that time when you got that news? How things was going with you? How was you dealing with? How you cope with it? Because I know that weighs on people's mental when they get that news.
Well, when I first got the news, the crazy thing, God has a sense of humor. I want to start out by saying that God definitely has a sense of humor. I was working and I remember crying in my closet like, God, I know this ain't where you want me. This is not where I'm supposed to be. I know that you have greater for me. And I was just like tired. I worked early mornings sometimes where I had to be at work at 3 a.m. But then there was a lot of times where I was coming home at 3 a.m. And it was never a set schedule. Like it was always up and down. This was my life for years. And I was like, God, I'm tired. I feel like I'm being ran ragged. Yeah, I got the money to do what I need to do. And I'm thankful. But God, I'm tired. And I just kept saying, I know one thing. When I do have the opportunity, baby, I'm gonna have me a mommy makeover and I'm just gonna go on vacation. I'm gonna live my best life.
That's
Now,
it.
you see them two things that I just said, them two things that I put out there. When I say God has a sense of humor, this is what I mean. He told me, don't you dare ask me to bless you and then tell me how to do it. Breast cancer for me was actually a blessing in disguise. It was that awakening that I needed in my life at that time. And it was a hard pill to swallow. And for a split second, I felt like I was being punished. Like, well, I don't know what I did, but I felt like God was just mad at me for wanting different or expressing that I was not happy in my current situation. And I sat in that for a little second, but the more I went through chemo, a lot of people, I hid. I'm gonna be honest. I practically hid during most of my chemo, because I didn't want people to see what it was really like going through that. Mentally, a lot of days I spent in my recliner, just like it was really hard to get up and just do life. And I remember saying to God, like, if this is what it is, my mom is pulling and tugging on me, my husband trying to figure out everything, my kids can't even hug me and embrace me and be around me right now. God, if this is it, then just rip the bandage off. And I sat in that for a moment, and it didn't last long. It didn't last long, but that shows you how low the enemy will take you that low. Because after my fourth treatment, it was really hard for me to walk. Like I couldn't even walk from my couch to my kitchen because my lungs felt like they were just constantly out of air. I thought I knew what it was like to have asthma, baby. That was unmatched. Like I couldn't, if somebody came to my house and I was sitting on my couch, they would have to wait a good 5 minutes for me to get to the door. And I am not exaggerating. So my mind, when I was first diagnosed, I went through the cycle like everybody else. I was hurt. I asked God, why me? I became angry. Um, and not at God, but I was angry because I was like, what did I do? What could I have done to deserve this? But he showed me in the midst of my journey, all of that craziness that I was thinking in my head is invalid. What could I have done? When I was going through radiation, I saw a child younger than my son. That baby was like 7 or 8 years old at the time going through radiation. So imagine me in my 30s saying, what did I do to deserve something like this? And to be slapped with this baby going before you to get their treatment. And this child was crying. And I engaged with his parents. And it was really tough. But I thank God in that moment because I was like, this is what I needed, because I was really thinking you was handling me, because it got tough. But I went through that and I was able to connect, like I said, with his dad, with this little boy's dad. He was broken. And it's really hard when you want to pour into someone and just let them know, like, I understand and I don't have the words, but you got to trust God. And I kept telling him to trust God, trust God. It's a reason for it. And maybe your son is just the person that God has put on assignment to clear up whatever. And I don't know what your family is like. I don't know what your friends. I said, he's using your baby for a reason, for a divine purpose. And to have this man crying, this stranger, I was like, we got to do something. We have to have more support here for people because, people deter from God whenever things get hard. But if we have that foundation, and I want to shout out my church, Cornerstone Baptist Church, and my pastor, Chris L. Simmons, and First Lady Janie Simmons, because they covered me and they made sure. Like, my church family was like, what you need? Baby, they sending me water, they sending me Gatorades, they sending me this. My pastor sending my kids snacks and all kinds. They covered me to assure me that I wasn't alone and that they're praying for me. I got so many cards of we're praying for you, we're uplifting you at this time. And that's even when I was out here at work. Like my church family never deterred from loving on me. So the community just having that and giving God to everybody else, it makes it a little bit easier. But yeah, in the beginning my mind was, what we doing? But God said, I'm giving you more than what you realize I'm giving you. Cancer is just the distraction, but you're going to pay attention in the midst of the noise. You're going to learn how to silence the noise and you're going to learn how to dance in the rain because I used to take things literal. I feel like I lived a life that was pleasing to other people because I was financially able to take care of myself and my family, but I was unhappy. And so
Mm.
he used the storm to wake me up and to make me realize that you chose that ain't what I had for you. You know, you can do better. You can choose to be better. You can choose to do more. But I'm gonna give you this and I'm gonna put you in timeout for a minute. Cause I feel like that's what breast cancer was for me. It was like a timeout because your mind is, girl, you going crazy. And it ain't no reason for you to go crazy. There's no reason for you to have, the thoughts and feelings that you're having about yourself. Cause I was my biggest critic, to be honest with you. I feel like I kept myself in the boxes that other people created for me because I at some point felt like this was my safe space. Because as long as I'm operating in this space, then nobody is questioning what I'm doing or why I'm doing what I'm doing or whatever the case is. Baby, let me tell you how I don't care anymore.
That's right.
Hmm.
I don't care. It's freeing. God uses
That's
your
it.
storms. He used your storms to wake you up. It ain't always a punishment. And I ain't gonna say it ain't always. I don't feel like anything that we go through is a punishment. I
Hmm.
believe that nothing that we go through, everything that we go through has to go through God in order to get to us. So if he know that you're strong enough for the challenge, he gonna put you to the test. And I was just tested in that season. I was tested. I went through a lot of different emotions. So I guess that's why it was hard for me to just answer that question straight out. Because it was a lot of emotions.
Ah, you being honest though, he really
Yeah.
is. And I got to come in the comment section and we see them pull this up. Put it up earlier. It said, yes, we do, sir, but we still need to reach many of our undeserving communities where African Americans and Hispanic live because the number continues to go up. Thank you for your podcast. Invite my dear Pink. That's Crystal on Miss Barbara. That's from Miss Barbara in
Yeah.
the comment section. She said she's proud of you as well. So I'm proud of Crystal. She's using her voice and used to be shy in speaking.
Well, amen.
I love Miss Barbara. And God sends you people. And Miss Barbara is an example of God sending you people. And what I'm learning is now he sends you people. I love Miss Barbara. You hear me? And it's a lot of women that I have met that I love, but we also have to have a spirit of discernment. Because again,
I agree.
them tests are gonna come. But I tell people all the time, have that discernment, find your tribe. Miss Barbara is a part of my tribe. When I tell you she has her own come on brain, because it's doing it again. She has her own nonprofit. And oh, I didn't give that disclaimer, did I? So chemo brain is a real thing. She has her own nonprofit organization and the things that she do. Miss Barbara helps me give other resources to other ladies who are going through, whether it's locally or not locally. Because sometimes I'll post like, do y'all know of any charities that help with this, and this? And Miss Barbara's like, what state they in? And she go to work right then and there. Like the community is there, but the problem that I've learned about some people, and I'm not talking about Miss Barbara, some people that I have tried to include in things have that takeover spirit. Like, oh,
Hmm.
I'm gonna claim that this was all me, this was all my idea. We're not working together, we're working against each other. No, whatever God ordains, we supposed to be on the same accord. And
That's
so
right.
I thank God for revealing certain things to me about certain situations because now it makes me really focus more on what I'm supposed to be doing because yeah, no, we're not gonna do that. We got a lot of resources here that we need to get out to people, and you really learn. When you find somebody that just hold on to resources and they stocking them up for themselves, like you can only use the resource maybe once. Why not tell
Mhm.
other people about the resources? Let's band together and make a real positive change. And that's why
Right.
I respect so much like this podcast, SRO, like it's so many different podcasts that I have stumbled across, whether it's business or whether it's biblical, walking in his ways, learning testimonies. Like we're sharing with other people and we're allowing other people the space to and to give information and love to other people. And I respect that wholeheartedly, because I met so many people that just did not, that were not willing to just share.
Yes. Oh yeah, call. So yeah, your
Yeah.
Bluetooth went out too. I can hear you, Chris. We can hear you, but it's like you were far away. But before we're gonna continue on, Ms. Roberts said we also need employers to step up and provide more resources, support financially, and
I
with
see
health
Miss Roberta
benefits.
said something. Hold
A
on.
lot of employees run out of time and eventually lose their job. Thankful Lady Crystal for using her voice. What you want to say about
Mhm.
that comment when she said we also need employers to step up and provide more resources. I heard a lot of individuals do lose their jobs behind
Listen,
that.
that listen, I'm
Yeah.
how I even say that because that was. Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, you good.
Um, I can I see Miss Roberta's again? Because I was trying to get this thing to work
Yeah,
again.
she was saying we also need employers to step up and provide more resources, support financially, and with health benefits. A lot of employees run out of time and eventually lose their job. Thankful Lady Chris for using her voice. Using her voice. That's what she's talking about. She said we need employers to step up and provide more resources, support
Yeah,
financially, and with health benefits. A lot of employees run out of time and eventually lose their jobs. I noticed that people have lose their jobs behind stuff like that because they run out of time and they eventually let them go.
yeah, and not even just that. They will push you out.
Oh,
This
really?
past week, the podcast. Well, when I was on, the lady that was on, me and her both experienced the push out. And ironically, Miss Roberta was my boss. And she was the difference between me and my other coworkers at the time. Well, before I I knew how my job was, right? Because I've heard when people get diagnosed with cancer, it's like, oh, well, your time here is limited, right? Because they're not going to help you. I heard it, but it's the difference when you hear it and then you go through it, right? But God placed her there at that time, and I was allowed an accommodation going through. And I was skating. Like I was real close to not being able to do my job or be accommodated. Like they was already playing, but there was a she was able to put something in place that allowed me the opportunity to maintain my job for a longer period of time. Well, after the fact, people feel like you're able to just bounce back and go back to work. Well, it depends on what kind of job you have. And if you are a person who works out in the field and you're doing like laborious work, like I drove public transportation, I'm responsible for myself, a whole 40-foot coach, and however many people are on this coach. And I can't go back to that when I can barely lift my hand up over my head and I'm still
Right.
super fatigued from going through chemo. And my doctor wanted me to be accommodated, but my boss at the time, Miss Roberta, she had already left her position. She threw in the towel, and that speaks volumes. And I pray that one day, Furman, you'll have her on because she's a very inspirational person as well. The way that God has used her throughout her life, but just going through all of that and her leaving after she left, it was like that person that looked at people as human beings instead of numbers is now
Mhm.
not here. So now what happened? I started getting letters in the mail saying if you don't return back to work by this day, you're terminated. Well, my doctor sent you over paperwork stating that I needed to be accommodated. Well, the guy in the accommodation process ignored me. the lady in the HR department told me that when I look at your resume, all I see is a bus operator. That was code for I'm not going to help you move. And oh, I forgot. She did also tell me that you can't expect what you're going through to help you move around in the company. So these are the things that are on the backside that we don't talk about, right? That we don't bring to the forefront because we don't want to make no type of employers look bad or whatever. Yeah, I'm over that. This
Mm-hmm.
is the reality. This is real. And when I turned in my letter, because they pushed me out, and I turned in a letter, I said, "You're not going to have the last say. I want it to be documented the way that you treated me." My letter stated all of those things, what the HR person said, how the guy in the accommodation ignored my advances to have a conversation about being accommodated, and everything. But this happens more often than we realize, and some people look at it like, "Oh, they just ain't trying to do nothing." That's not the reality. I have a CDL and I can't even use it because I still have infusions. I have an infusion. I thought it was this week, but I have an infusion in July, and I can't drive on medication and having infusions. It re it messes with your whole life. And I wish that employers were better about helping their people with navigating through challenges in their life. Because it's all good when you showing up and you getting all the awards and you making them look good. Because I
Mm-hmm.
know who I am, right? I did this. I know what my file looked like. So I'm telling everybody, baby, when I say I feel like I got grounds to open my mouth and talk, I do. Because for 7 years on that job, I wasn't absent outside of me, going through COVID with my kids. When their school shut down, that's when my attendance started to waver. But outside of that, baby, I was efficient every year. And that's hard on that type of job, but it shows how much they don't value you. Employers must do more here, especially to help their people navigate through these type of storms because it's not right. It's not right. And I don't wish this on anybody. And that's the reason why I said a long time ago, God, if you gonna use me, just go ahead and use me. And I know it's not gonna be easy. I done took a lot of L's, and I equate that to that's just something that I gotta feel and I have to go through to help the next person not go through it or not feel it. So
Amen.
Yes, I'm looking at something too, and I just pulled up something on my phone. And just they said, what percent of cancer patients go broke? We never had this kind of conversation before, but we're gonna have this conversation. It's a variety from cancer to cancer, but for those who are in a bankruptcy situation, and about 3% of cancer patients go bankrupt, and the risk of dying is just very, very high. And lead author Dr. Scott Ramsey directed the Hutchinson Institute for Cancer Overcome Research on HICOR. This was back on January 25th, 2016. An article that was printed out. And it said about 3% of cancer patients go bankrupt. The risk of dying is just very, very high. So this affects cancer patients financially as well. Can they consider you a high
oh
risk?
yeah. And see the numbers, it's so I'm gonna put it like this. So when you have someone who navigates through the journey and they're able to work, but then maybe whenever they go and they had a surgery and their job start tripping on them, then they lose their job there. You have medical bills, you got to fight for your insurance with your employer. I was short-term disability. They were trying to throw me into long-term disability, but you constantly you take financial hits because chemo ain't cheap. They done pumped cars and houses. I probably got a mansion in my body at this point because of the amount of chemotherapy that I've had, and it's not cheap. And if you don't have insurance, imagine that. A lot of
Mm,
people go through the ringer with their jobs because they know if I lose my job, I'm not going to be able to afford treatment. Nobody should
Mm-hmm.
have to choose between being stressed out or taking chemo. You know what I'm saying? Like, both of them are stressful, but you gotta really force yourself into hard situations just because you don't want to lose your employment. And a lot of times, even when you fighting as hard as you can fight, you still end up losing. And once you lose, it's like everything else just starts happening. Them bills don't stop. The mortgage don't stop. The medical bills don't stop. The after treatments don't stop. The pills. I have to take pills for the next 10 years. I'm unemployed right now. I have to pay on bills because I have to keep my treatments going. It don't stop. Like we don't talk about the financial strain that it causes people. And I feel like, and I have this thing where for Mother's Day weekend, I went to my one of my sisters that I met through the journey. She was speaking at her church, and she was talking about distractions. But we also got to talking about it's on my brain again, y'all. Bear with me.
It's okay.
You're
we
good.
were talking we were talking about distractions, but she knows a lot of things like that I'm going through personally. And she was like, them are just distractions from the enemy. You got to keep it going. But
That's right.
there's a lot of people who don't recognize them as being distractions from the enemy, and they become depressed. You'll be surprised in how many people will hurt themselves or literally check out mentally because they looking at all these bills. When I tell you, they don't stop.
Yeah.
I used to look at my bills and just be like, oh, I'll pay that when I get a chance. Oh, I'm gonna take care of that when I get. It wasn't a problem. But now I'm looking like, well, dang, I thought I paid this over here because I just had to do a colonoscopy, an endoscopy, and then the gallbladder scan. So I'm paying the doctor, but then I got three separate bills from the anesthesiologist, the location that we did it at, and then this other bill for whatever. People don't think about that. Like it doesn't stop. And financially, that's a conversation that we have to have because everybody doesn't have the job where they can return back and just say, okay, let me go. I'm good. It doesn't work that way. Even putting in application, let me tell y'all what, it's ghetto out here in these streets, okay? I got a CDL that I can't do nothing with. And I took pride in getting my CDL. I have a CDL, I can't do anything with it right now. And applying for jobs, and my background is transportation. So a lot of employers are like, okay, no, work from home jobs, no, this job. I applied for Walmart. They told me no. Like who does that? And I'm like, okay, God, well maybe. And I started looking at things different. Like, well, maybe you got my purpose in front of me, and I'm supposed to focus on it. But it don't stop these bills from coming. God, what am I supposed to do with this? And he said, okay, I got a solution for you. And this is just real funny. I want to share this. My son, I told you he's autistic, so he catches the bus. The lady came to the door, like she came and dropped my son off, and she was like, yeah, we apologize for being late. I was like, don't worry about it. I used to drive school buses as well, so I understand how it is sometimes. My personality, I'm just relaxed. It ain't that big of a deal. It's not, we're not going trip. We humans, we're not robots. I was like, it's not a big deal. Do you know, this lady was like, oh, you used to drive? I said, yeah, I used to drive, but after going through my breast cancer diagnosis, yada, 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 we had the conversation. And she was like, come see me. Ma'am, come see me. She was like, come see me when you're ready. And I said, but I can't drive right now because I'm under restrictions. She said, okay, come see me when you're ready. And long story short, I'm looking at her thinking, okay, well, I want her to drive because she told me they were short of drivers. So I kind of was idle for a moment, and I went and I saw her, and she was like, no, we're going to let you be a monitor. Don't even worry about it. I got you. Don't even worry. You ain't got to worry about nothing. When school start back, you can monitor, you can, and then when that time comes, if you want to drive for us, you can. But let me tell you something, the vision is clear. And although I know like it's challenging, it's a testament that what's for you, you gonna get it
Amen.
regardless. God
Amen.
knew in this moment, like I'm okay, God, like I'm used to making my little change. I'm used to being able to take care of my responsibilities. This is new for me, and this has been a long stretch. Now my hurting came back, but I feel like I'm about to scratch out a bald spot in a minute. I think Jesus, and he's like, okay, calm down. I got you. I'm gonna give you
Yes.
something where you don't even have to overthink it. It's something that you're passionate about. You love working with children. I'm gonna allow you that space. I walked in there. They was when I walked in there to see her. It wasn't. I hadn't put in an application or anything. It was more so welcome to the family. I mean, it was a lot of people just standing out there, and I'm walking in this building like, who these people is? How y'all doing? They was like, you finally came to the family, huh? I'm like, what? God got it.
Yes.
God got it, and He
Yes.
got you. He
Yes.
has you. But the financial part, yes, it's ghetto. And I'm making, I will be, next year, I will be making way less, over half of what I used to make. But God, because the vision is
Amen.
clear. And we have to realize that, yeah, we go through seasons, but seasons also change. And
That's
Furman,
right.
and Chastity, I know that you don't know, but the business that I pitch is, I'm very intentional. And the name
Mhm.
of it is Seasons of Life, because life has taken
Right.
me through so many seasons that
Hmm.
I'm just like, okay, no matter what season it is that you're going through, I want you to go through it with your head held high. And I want you to be encouraged and inspired while you're going through it. So I'm
Amen.
very intentional with my words now. I'm intentional with how I do things and how I put things out there.
That's it.
And that ain't nothing
Amen.
but God. That ain't nothing but
Yes.
Hey,
God
that's
though.
it. Hey, and that's it. You know, it's all
Yes.
about having a good time. It's all about inspiring, motivating, and hold each other accountable. But most important, inspire, motivate, hold each other accountable at a higher standard, because everybody's beautiful in their own unique way.
Hmm.
Everybody's gifted. Everybody's talented. Everybody a genius. You have to tap into who you truly are,
Yes.
and knowing the I am from the I do. You know, the job is just an I do, but it's not the I am. You know who you
I
are
like that.
without the income. You know who you
I
are,
like that.
whether you, yeah, that's the difference. A lot of times, Crystal and J1, people they make their job as an I am. No, that's just an I do. I'm not my job. I'm me. That's just something I do, but it doesn't determine who I am. Remember
I
when
like
Jesus
that.
asked Peter, "Who do you say that I am?" Everybody had a different opinion on who he was. He asked Peter, "Yeah, who do you say that I am?" So everybody has their own I am in life, and you know who you are, and you don't persuade that, and you know who you are. Your income does not determine. We talked about this on the show last night,
Yes.
and you know a lot of times people like, and we all been there before. Well, we allow our finances to impact our happiness. Like, I got finances, I can go out, I can do these things, but if I don't have the finances, I'm feeling down, I'm depressed, I'm defeated, I can't do anything, I have to stay in the house while everybody's going doing these things. But that's just that mindset. Cause you be like, if your account isn't a negative, you still be happy. Don't listen to social media. Don't listen to what the world say. Don't listen to what society say. You see a lot of people have money and they still not happy.
That's right.
You see it on the news. You see all these people getting caught up, billionaires getting caught up. They can buy anything they want. And you think, oh man, they ain't got no problems. But yeah, they do. They got a problem. You see it on the news. It's just being exposed now.
Yep.
And so you can
Yep.
have all the money in the world and you still be losing at the end of the day. I just want to throw that out there. But
Yeah. And it's real, because when you got a
yeah,
lot of money and you aren't able to sleep, and I wasn't making all the money, you know what I'm saying? I wasn't making all
right,
the money by far, but I was able to pay my bills and take care of things. But at the same time, I couldn't sleep. And I wasn't looking at it, and I kept saying I like that, because I wasn't looking at what I did as what I do. I was looking at, this is just a part of who I am. And I've messed around and I found out the hard way. God was like, no, that ain't who you are. That was something that you did. But even with you doing it to the best of your abilities, he kind of showed you like that's not what that is. So I really like how you broke that down. I am versus I do. And it's funny
Awesome.
because I get these notifications on my phone all day long. I am, and it'll say, I choose joy, I choose peace, I choose happiness, I am worth loving, I am worth, like, I'm learning to unprogram and rearrange the learned behavior over the years and the way that things have been for me. and looking at it in a purposeful way, a more positive way. I'm learning to accept myself as who I am and not care about other people's thoughts or opinions about me. That's been a long road coming because, you know, when your heart is like, I never want to make a person feel like, or I never intended, and you genuinely want to make things right with people. And God, like, well, that ain't your ministry. Why you care about why they mad because of whatever, however, you know, it ain't your job to do. Because I
That's right.
am who I am now. And I thank God for that. I'm not that person that used to just go off and charge somebody up for the slightest thing. Now don't get me wrong, the Lord is still working on me. Don't get
Amen.
it twisted. He's still working on me. And
Amen.
my response these days have been ignore because the fool ain't gonna argue with themselves for too long.
Oh
Because
yeah.
if they do, then it's something wrong. It's really, really something wrong with them. And it's
That's
a
right.
good thing that God revealed that. You know what I'm saying? But
Yes.
I've realized, and I don't know who needs to hear this, but you don't have to be loud. I learned being in these rooms with such amazing people, such successful people, that they're not loud because they know who they are.
Mhm.
They know what they give. And now that I'm learning that about myself, baby, but oh, you mad at me? I hope you got
Okay.
some sleep last night, because baby, I slept so hard. Because if we don't know how to effectively communicate, then we don't have anything to talk about.
That's
Right.
right.
But you know, I got to give it to the biggest, one of the biggest figures in the Bible, Joseph out of the Old Testament. We know what Joseph went through all this stuff with his brothers. They did that to him, did that to him. And you know, he told his brothers, when y'all thought evil against me, God meant it for my good.
Amen.
And it
Hmm.
takes a bigger individual to come across people who did you wrong, who lied on you, mistreated you, did all this evil stuff towards you. But then when you reach your purpose in life and they come before you and you tell them things, you tell them kind words. Yeah, you thought evil against me, but God turned around for my good.
That's
That take a
right.
big
Hmm.
individual because you can look at somebody and you wanna, I ain't gonna lie, you wanna throw hands with them because they did some
Uh-huh.
things to you. But when you be the bigger person, you know what? Yeah, you did some jacked up stuff to me, and you thought evil toward me. But I'm gonna say, wait, God turned around for my good, and I
Hmm.
love Joseph for that because that Joseph was the bigger man to look at his brothers, and he still helped his brothers out
Yeah.
regardless of what they did.
Yeah.
So that lets you know when you arrive, when people who did you wrong, but you still help
Hmm.
them out, in spite of what they did to you, but you in that
Yeah.
position of a power and authority to say, you know what, yeah, you did this. I'm still gonna help you out. I'm not gonna be friends
Yeah.
with you no more. Them days over with. But I see you have a need there. Yeah, here you go.
Yeah.
Be
Yeah.
bygones, be bygones, and have a great day. That takes a
Yeah.
bigger person to do that. That lets
Yes.
you know you
It
when you
does.
arrive, you do stuff like that.
It
Yes.
does. And when you arrive, you don't just you don't and Miss Roberta, I don't know if she's still watching, but when I say watching other people sometimes is the greatest gift because I watched her go in silence and heal before she spoke about anything that she had gone through professionally. And it's a testament of not speaking out of anger, allowing your thoughts and your heart to just be in the right place and making sure that I'm coming out and I'm saying this for educational purposes and just for my testimony itself, not because I'm angry or I'm coming from a bitter place, because I allow myself the opportunity to heal. There's a lot of things that you start doing different whenever you are in that season of healing, clear, like really healing. And healing, I think a lot of people feel like that's oh, I'm healed today, and so I'm just great from here on out. No, healing is an everyday thing. I hope that everybody knows that. Like, you ain't just, when you say, oh, I'm not this person anymore, it's a daily practice. Because the
Right.
enemy's still gonna come at you and try to make you that person that you was 4 years ago.
That's right.
And if you let him, you gonna take all them steps backwards
Sure
and you're
will.
gonna become that person all over again. But when you're intentionally healing, you move different. You
That's
speak
right.
different. You look at people that dislike you and you smile and say, God bless you. I'm gonna pray for you, and you move on.
That's it. Move on.
Amen.
Yeah, because they go back to you. Cause first of all, you love yourself, you know your value, and you know your worth. It's like, why scoop down to your level when I know that I'm bigger than that? And if you do scoop down to your level, they let scoop down to their level, let you know we need work to be worked on. But it get
Yeah,
to that point where I'm not going back to the I am. I know who I am, so I'm not gonna allow you to affect me because I know who I am. And once it's like Nehemiah in the Old Testament, when Nehemiah was building that wall, and they were trying to get Nehemiah attention. Nehemiah would say, "Why should I come down? I'm doing a good work. Why should I come down for you? If I come down
Mm,
for you, that's just wasting my time." And that's another thing too. We have to learn how to value our time. We don't value our
yeah,
time, and value your time. Don't allow it. Don't waste your own time, and don't allow other individuals waste your time because we only got 24 hours in
mm,
a day, and we to the point now. This is just my opinion. It's for the sport now. You have to start getting up early now before the sun rises because if you don't, time fly by so fast. Before you know it, it's
yeah,
already nightfall again. So you
yeah,
have to get to the point now. You have to start getting up early, prepare yourself, getting things done because time is so flying by so fast. Because they said it was an old saying: if you wake up after the sun is already up, some people say you're already late. They say you
yeah.
should get in before the sun rise, especially if you're a business person. Business people always get up early. Look at the virtuous woman in Proverbs. The Bible says she rose up early. The virtuous woman, she rose up early to get to work, to provide for her family and stuff like that. So you have to start getting prepared. I believe in that. Get prepared ahead of
Mhm.
time. When times things are going now, and it's just in my spirit, we need to start getting prepared. We need to
Yeah,
start getting prepared, and we take these things lightly because we just one step away. I'm not speaking negative, but we're just one step away from anything happening.
that's
You see
right.
people lost their jobs. People are still losing their jobs. Anything can happen. Make sure we put some money to the side. I'm not speaking negative. We need to start being better prepared. We talk about this on the show too. Remember the ant. The Bible says, "Consider the ant, you slugger." What the ant is
Mm,
always doing, the ant is storing up during the summer, so when it hit, it don't have to run around with a chicken head with his head cut off because
that's
it's
right.
already
mhm,
prepared. So God gets us in the mindset that we should be already prepared.
yeah,
If we be
Amen.
prepared, and when them things hit, and they go for all of us, I believe. Once we
Yeah,
start getting ourselves prepared ahead of time for these things, they transpire. We're already covered. We are protected. Because God tells
yeah.
these things ahead of time, and He tells these things for a reason. Like Noah, when Noah was building that ark, it said it took 5 years. People were laughing at Noah. Oh, it ain't rained in so many years. Why are you building this ark? But Noah kept working. He kept building.
Mhm,
So that's what I love about God. God start getting you prepared ahead of time. He start for forewarning us ahead of time. I'm telling you this stuff now so you get on the go. So when it hits, you
you'll
covered,
be
you
prepared.
prepared.
Mhm,
And we'll know God's voice. We think that ain't God talking. Yeah, God talking. He telling you to get ahead before time. God forewarns us before these
mhm,
things. Prophecy. You know what prophecy is? Prophecy is a foretell of an event about the event and occur. So these prophecies go forth. It's something. It's going to occur. So you gotta be prepared. So those that listen to us this morning, start preparing yourself now.
yeah,
So when it does hit, you already prepared. Then you say, "Oh, I see what God was saying now." I just want to
that's
put that
right.
out. Let's start preparing ourselves because this is our time to start being ahead of the game.
yeah,
We've been behind in the fourth quarter far too long. It's time for us to be ahead of the game, at least by 30 points ahead of the game now, ladies and gentlemen, because we already going into it. June
Yes.
1st is coming Saturday.
yeah.
We gotta start getting ourselves prepared, ladies and gentlemen. That's listening to us. Like Chris was just talking about, I didn't know anything about the financial side. I hear people talk about cancer survivor and things, but we're not talking about the financial risks that are at stake. We don't. Why are we not
And
talking
it's
about that? Why are we not really talking about that aspect? We're not talking about the pros and cons. We were talking about the house analogy. The house look good on the outside, but when
Mm-hmm.
you walk in that house, yeah, the house look good. So you think, okay, the house look good on the outside. It's painted, it's
mhm,
not dirty. The landscape look good. I can imagine that house look good on the inside, When you walk inside that house, clothes everywhere. It's an odor inside the house. The kitchen ain't been clean. The bathrooms some dirty. But we just focus more on the outer appearance,
Yeah.
but we're not working on the inside. But we're
Yeah.
not talking about this stuff because people are being financially. And we read that little article. This affects people that had to go into bankruptcy.
Hmm.
Yeah.
It's real. Like it's real. And I really feel like a lot of people, and I open it to everybody because when I say we can all learn something from somebody, my
Yeah,
experience alone, I'm telling everybody that I know, hey, now check your insurance policies. Make sure that your insurance policies are legit because anything can happen. You know what I'm saying? And those are things that will aid you throughout the journey. But one of the things that I didn't like that I went through with insurance, I'm just gonna say this briefly. I had a policy that would assist, right, me if at the event that I had an invasive form of cancer. Well, guess what? When I was diagnosed with breast cancer, I wasn't thinking about that. My mind went everywhere but on money, finances. My brain was in survival mode. What am I supposed to do? Like, God, what, like, what's happening? And now I'm here and I'm telling people, yeah, when I did the claim, they denied it. And then not only did they deny it, but the lady told me, well, yeah, you probably wasn't going to get that much back anyway. But the way that it was written and it was explained to me, right, was that this policy was going to give me a decent return in the event that I went through this. But the way that they wrote it out, and it's sad that you got to get lawyers and stuff involved, even in insurance policies nowadays, because they underhanded. And that's why
Hmm.
I haven't, and I have the conversation, but I'm afraid of telling people, like, hey, go to this insurance company because of my experience with the one that I had. So I just tell people, like, go to your lawyer or if somebody that you trust that knows about insurance and have them look over these policies that you have because they do have things here that can help you with finances in the event that you are diagnosed with cancer. But there's a time frame that you have to apply or file a claim. So you have to make sure that you put it somewhere where you never forget. Nobody plans to get cancer, right? But you
right.
Right.
have to make sure that you have a 911 list. Like if something ever happens, these are my insurance policies. This is what they cover. You don't have to have it like all the paperwork right there where you got to read through it. No, just put notes on the side. Covers, critical illness, whatever, yada yada yada. Time frame to file claim, and have it where it's in your view all the time because you will forget. We go through life so fast. Furman was just saying, time goes by so fast where we
Yes.
don't really pay attention to things. I blinked and I realized I had an insurance policy in a year and a half had passed by. And I realized that my insurance policy covered critical. But then the insurance policy again, it wasn't what it was explained, how it was explained, and how I read it. The way that they wrote it with the dates and having to pay out whatever parts of the premium that you did, like it's a whole lot of stuff that they know that we don't really understand. So
Hmm.
they put that in there to snatch your money. So
Yep.
don't just go out and get random insurance policies or don't just trust anybody with these insurance policies. Make sure that you get a second and third opinion on your insurance policies so you know what you got in the event that you ever need them. Use
Right.
somebody else's testimony as your roadmap because I've gone through so much and I've taken so many L's. I'm not ashamed of it because at the end of the day, I know the person that I am. And to have even your doctor say, oh, no, I'm pretty sure you're going to be fine. You're going to bounce back. You're going to figure it out. Even my doctors know. Like with the stuff with my job, they were even disappointed in seeing how things played out. But it was like, you're going to be fine because you're gonna bounce back. You're gonna be fine. Just take a moment and look over whatever you need to look over and do what you need to do. And we're here in support and have communication with people because the community counts. They matter and they care about you. This narrative that the enemy placed in a lot of our heads, and the upcome like your upbringing, nobody cares, figure it out on your own, all of that, especially in our community, the black and brown community. It's like, don't be out here telling nobody your business. Baby, tell somebody you need help. Because it's better that you tell somebody that you need help now than for you to be over there really in a place when all along people were ready, willing, and able to bless you and help you through whatever that situation is, and you over here battling it by yourself. And I'm
Yep.
talking to myself when I say that too, because it is hard when you used to being able to do things on your own and you can't do them anymore. You have to depend on community, and that's fine. Ain't nothing wrong with that. But have the conversation. Now, don't put yourself in a whole bunch of unnecessary situations and think that people gonna just pull you out. Now, that ain't what I'm saying. But if life happens to you, it's okay because it happens to all of us. But you gotta learn to trust God and allow Him to guide you to whatever it is, and He's gonna send you people. And lastly, the seeds that we plant before we go through, they matter. We don't realize
Hmm.
when we out here in the world and we're planting seeds, and that can be if you catch an attitude with somebody, you think you ain't gonna see that again. You do somebody wrong, you gonna see it again. But if you're planting good seeds out into the world, you may not get that harvest from the people that you feel like you're gonna get it from. But God said, "No, watch this. I got you." Because
Right.
you've
That's
been
right.
planting all these good seeds, I'm gonna allow these people to bless you, and He's gonna start sending you strangers out the woodworks.
Yeah,
That's
that's
right.
it.
That's just how He is.
Amen.
Right. He said, he told Abraham, I bless those who bless you, I curse those who curse you. And that's what it's all about. And make sure we all planting great seed. Because what the Bible say, God is not mocked what a man sow shall so reap. So we gotta be mindful
Hmm.
of what we sowing. We will reap it no matter what it did or whatever, we will reap it. But most importantly, educate yourself. We talked about this last time on the show, born again. I consider that a born again experience. When we're born
Yes.
again, we were starting all over again. We were starting all over again from a spiritual standpoint. Educate yourself more, learn stuff more, go to the doctor, check yourself out, especially when you get a life insurance policy. They consider you at a certain risk. If you have high blood pressure, diabetes, all that other stuff, they consider you at a high risk. So that the more it is, the more your policy is higher because they see you at high risk. So get out
Hmm.
there, check your health out. Check, especially us in the black and brown community. We always lead in these categories when it comes to our cholesterol, when it comes to high blood pressure, cancer, all that other stuff. We always lead in the negative categories. So we have to get better in our community,
Yes.
get better for ourselves. Another thing too, make sure you are with the right person. Wink, wink. I say that again. Make sure you are with the right person when you enter a relationship with people. Wink, wink. I say that. I say that for a reason because if you're with the wrong person, you're catching hell, and you don't need to go down that road catching hell with nobody you're not supposed to be with. So it pays you to be the right person. I'm just saying it pays you the right person.
Yes.
But when you get better, you make better decisions, right? So
Right.
Hmm.
make because that support system is it plays a major role. We don't realize it at night. When you're going through these things, you have your significant other with you to help along with this journey. Man, a lot of people not getting that help at home. They going through these journeys by themselves, and they got a body in the house who's not contributing anything. That makes sense.
Yes.
Oh yeah, I see it all the time in
And
that
that
stress
weighs more
messaging.
on your mental health too. That's stress.
Hmm. Yeah.
You going through this, but then you got to at the same time, I'm going through this. I have someone in the house with me. They're not contributing. So all that stuff plays in your mind. Bills coming in. I'm dealing with this health thing. And these bills, and that's crazy to me. And that shouldn't be like that.
No, it shouldn't. No, it should
But
not.
that's the reality.
Yes, it
That's the
is.
unfortunate reality. And when you see it, like you have to hear some of the things that I've heard and witness some of the posts that I've seen. It's sad and it's very disheartening, especially for people who are going through cancer and stuff like that, because
It's
your
tough.
body, as a woman, you know what I'm saying? We feel like our breasts and our hair are those are the two things that can't nobody take from us, right? But then
Mhm.
when you lose those two things
So
and then your spouse does not support you and pour into you,
that's
and it's like that's a painful thing to watch. But it's also learning that God will use certain seasons to remove people who don't mean you no good because
right.
He's elevating you to a new level.
That's right.
Yeah, and that's it. And I know we had a great time here on the show. I know we're doing
Mhm.
another show tonight at 7. We're gonna be talking about the community and mental health. So we got Pat Law coming back on. We got Carl coming back on, and also got George Brooks coming on tonight with us. So we're gonna be back tonight at 7. Great conversation. We're gonna be talking about the community and mental health. So you don't want to miss that one. It's gonna be an awesome show. Today's show was awesome as well. We talked about a lot of things that we never thought about. We talked about the financial side when it comes to cancer, how people are being affected by it, and people are losing their jobs. So the thing, so you should get multiple streams of income. I seen a post and I had it last year. Having multiple streams of income now, it's really a necessity now
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
because you just can't have just one income coming in now. You need to have multiple incomes coming in. So people need to
Yeah.
get off their lazy butt and start getting out there hustling. You got DoorDash, you got Uber, you got Lyft. I'm just throwing stuff out there. People be so lazy they don't want to make stuff happen. The resources out there, ladies and gentlemen. The financial resources
Yeah.
for us are available to us. You just have to
Hmm.
go out
Yeah.
there and get it. Get that extra income coming in and put that extra income up for what rainy days, sunny days, whatever you want to call it. But
Yes,
it's financial opportunity available to us. God gave us the opportunity. You got to go out there and go get it.
Yeah.
that's right. That's right.
Let me see. Oh, we got a statement. J1, please have a discussion on domestic violence. Oh
Oh,
wow.
So yeah, and Furman, when you have that one, um, and I'm gonna connect you to, because that was I we did talk about me connecting you with somebody, but I wanted to talk with her. That's who I wanted to connect you with. Miss Roberta has an amazing testimony. She's definitely walking the walk, not just talking the talk, and I respect her so much for that and her transparency. And I really would love to. I would really love for y'all to connect and you have the conversation with her.
Oh, most
Cause
definitely.
yes.
yeah,
So that's what it
yeah,
was. So J1, we got to talk about let's have a discussion on domestic violence. I don't condone domestic violence. I don't believe in a man putting his
yeah,
hand on a woman. I don't care how mad you get. She's not a punching bag. If you want to get that mad, go buy a punching bag and go punch that. But don't put your hands on a woman. Ladies, don't do the same thing to guys. Yeah, I don't condone that. And speaking of that,
I was just gonna
I
say
know
because
everybody
women get out of hand too.
don't put your hands on nobody. I don't agree with all. And somebody told me this a long time ago, and I keep this in my heart. If we have to put hands on each other, I'm not talking about a loving way, but we have to put hands on each other. We don't need to be
Mhm.
together. And
That's
I'm gonna
right.
tell you this too: domestic violence costs you a lot of things, mentally, financially. You know how many
Yeah,
people lost stuff behind that? Domestic violence
yeah,
ain't no joke. Especially you can lose your job on domestic violence if that shows in your record. Because when you get a domestic violence charge, they look at you that you don't have no self control.
Hmm.
And especially if you work in law enforcement, if you get domestic violence on your record, they firing you because they look at you don't have no self
yeah,
control. So be careful out here. Domestic violence ain't no joke. It will cost you everything. Look at
That's
Diddy.
right.
Diddy lost over 18 endorsements. Well, 19 now, 19 endorsements over that video, which he was wrong for what he did, and he losing money behind that. So man, y'all be careful out here. Domestic violence is no joke. Don't put your hands on nobody. I don't care how mad you get. Don't put your hands on
hmm,
nobody. That's no excuse. Leave. You gotta leave. Leave. And I hate it for the people who are stuck in domestic violence. Cause I know they say it's hard for them to get out of.
hmm,
Um, and that's another thing too. During the pandemic, they didn't talk about this either. The domestic violence rate went up during the pandemic,
Yes.
but they didn't talk about that though. Wink, wink. They
mm-mm.
didn't talk about that.
No, they're not gonna talk about that because then now we're shedding light on a problem that needs to be solved. because
Mhm.
everybody feels that the solution is just leave. But the reality for a lot of people is you can't just walk away from that type of situation. You
It's
have to
hard.
have things in place. Yeah, you gotta have your paper trail. It's just like a job, right? You gotta
Mhm.
CYA. Y'all know what that means, right? Cover your own behind,
Cover your
basically.
own
Mhm.
ass. Yeah.
You gotta have paperwork in place to make sure that at the end of the day, and it's unfortunate, it was a video of a young lady who had all the documentation. She had a restraining order, and the dude saw her in her apartments, and he gunned her down. He shot her and killed her. It was I saw this on Facebook not too long ago, and that hurt my soul for a lot of different reasons. First off, what did the police like? Y'all missed the mark. Like, she already had a restraining order against him. She was complaining about things. Why was he even out still? Secondly, whenever the video showed, like, we really streaming this on social media. Why are we so careless nowadays? Why, like,
Yeah.
why nobody should see that her family don't need to be reminded of this. Why is this even out there? It's so much stuff on social media, y'all. It's
Mhm.
triggering. It's
It is.
triggering.
And know what, Crystal, I feel for the ladies. I you know what, I feel for the ladies out here. The stuff you had to deal with some of these guys. We're gonna do it. So we're gonna do a topic on this too, and I'm gonna look this up, and it is we're gonna do a topic on rejection. Guys, too. Do you know guys injure women because they told them no?
Yep.
Hmm. I got
And you
cussed
look,
out a few times.
and but we're gonna do a topic on that show too coming soon. We're gonna put that together too, and we're gonna go through different articles of women who lost their lives, got injured because she told the guy no. And the women, you had to deal with so much as ladies that you tell a guy no, you don't know what's on his mind now.
Hmm.
Mhm.
You used to be able to say, I'm not interested. Now you just gotta look and keep it moving and pray that they don't say nothing else to you, because sometimes they feel like that's a form of disrespect. Oh, you ignoring me? You think you better than me? It's like you can't win for losing in a lot of situations. It's sad. And social media doesn't help it, because I feel like it gives people, well, she should have did this. She should have, I
Yes.
mean, you know what I'm saying? Social media give people like that false courage, like what you doing is right, and it's really wrong. We
Yeah.
Yes.
shouldn't see half of the things that we're seeing. One thing that really kept me up, y'all, it was a video of a lady, a young chick walking down the street. It was nighttime. A
Mm.
guy came behind her, and when I tell y'all, you have to be thankful to God for bringing you through everything that you've been through. Because I used to work at City Place, and I used to have to catch the train. My biggest fear was being harassed or assaulted by somebody. But I'm looking at this. I was just strolling one day, one of them 5 minute downtimes. I was like, what they talking about? It's a video, and it's a guy walking behind this girl, and out of nowhere, he puts a belt around her neck and drags her between two cars and rapes her.
Wow. It's
And
crazy
we
out here.
don't
Be
talk
careful.
about this type of stuff, but it's on
It's
social
real.
media, and we
It's
don't
real.
talk about it.
It is real. And, you know, especially like in our hometown of Mobile. And Jay, when you seen this, where guys came to jail on the same thing, killed these girls they used to be in a relationship with, and killed them. So this stuff goes on, and it's in our community,
Hmm.
and it get worse and worse and worse.
Yeah, and there's so
That's
many
why I
things like. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
And that's why when it comes to the dating thing, I ain't gonna do not go to nobody's house on the first date. Don't do
Thank
that,
you.
man
And
You
or
gotta tell
woman.
people that.
yeah, you got to tell grown people
Don't
that, baby.
go. Yeah, and matter
Hmm.
of fact, you got to go in separate cars now. I ain't gonna lie. Do not
Yes.
pick nobody up on the first date. Go on separate cars just in case it
And have
don't
your
work
own
out.
money.
You can leave, huh?
Have your
Yeah,
own
you.
money. Cause I never forget. And this was a long time ago. Me and my friend girl, she was real, and she ain't gonna buy it. Like, it's funny now, but this guy wanted to go out with her, and she didn't want to go by herself. We were going to El Centro at the time, I believe.
Mhm.
And she was like, just come with me or whatever. And she was like, I'll pay for your food. And I was like, okay, whatever. I'm not gonna leave my friend out here by herself with a
Yeah.
random dude, even though they were in a restaurant. She goes, and I'm sitting at another table, eating my little food, looking at my little work or whatever, doing my thing, minding my business. Why this dude didn't have no money, but he invited her out to eat, and then yeah,
That
gonna
ain't the
tell
first
her,
time.
and he gonna tell her to cover the bill. But here's the thing: at the time, she had enough to pay for my food, and now the waiter is looking because it's like, well, what's going on? So
That
I
ain't the
ended up
first
paying for me and her, and I told her your best bet is to delete and block, do whatever, whichever one of them work for you, because there's no way you come out here and you can't even pay for your own. Like he wanted us to pay for his food.
That ain't the first time. That
Mm-mm.
ain't the first time
You
he
did
did
it
that.
plenty of times.
It ain't the first time. Yeah, be careful when you going out. Matter of fact, when you going out, make sure they leave before you because trust me, people will follow you too and
Yes,
find
they
out where you live
will.
at. So I would make sure they leave before you. Wait till they leave first. Well, then at least a good 10. I don't want people crazy. So
Yes.
make sure they leave before you go in separate cars, meet in a public place. If somebody tell you, man, you come on to my house, that's a red flag. Do not go to the house because you got people who stage setups, especially
Yeah.
these guys so gullible because they want to get between somebody's legs so bad they get set up. We're gonna talk about this too on the show where guys were going overseas to get women and they get drugged up and they lose everything because they want sex so bad. They think women
Mm.
overseas don't know no better. Just because they don't speak the English language, trust me, they got game. They
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 could
big
pick
got
up
it.
scammers.
they could pick up a gullible man. If they know you gullible and they know that's what you want, they gonna play. They gonna finesse you. So
They the
be
best
careful out
scammers,
there.
baby.
But I'm put this article up too. It's this drug in Colombia. It's called dragon breath. That's what they call it. They put it inside their drink. You can't taste it. And what it does, it blocks the memory of your brain like you're a zombie. And what they do is they control you. They tell you, well, take us to your place. You take them to the place. They take everything from you. After 3 days or so, when you wake up from it, you don't remember anything. It's
Oh, they out here
real
playing.
out here.
They.
That's why they tell you when you go to a club or go to a gathering, if you leave your drink on the table, get you another drink. They tell you that
They
because
don't go
people
back.
put stuff. If you walk off and go to the bathroom, you leave your drink on the table, water, anything. People put stuff in your drink. It's not even just in the club, a restaurant. If you go off to
Yep.
the bathroom and you leave your water drink there, make sure they bring you another one because people can come up and put stuff in your drink. Think about it. People when they in these restaurants, they're scouting
Mhm.
people who they can get. And they can pick. Okay, we're gonna get him. So soon he get up, gonna put something to drink, come on back, and that's how they get people. So be careful out here. It's just crazy. Be careful. Anybody else want to share anything before we ready to leave? We just want to share some information.
um. Well, let me give my little closing notes. First of all, I just want to say, like my grandma used to always say, be ready so you don't have to get ready. So let's piggyback on what you said earlier. And also, I just want to say thank you again coming on and just continuously being faithful to, your word to God is about being transparent and you are truly being that. So just want to say thank you for that. Of course, my little ending note, you want to find me on Facebook. I'm under Chastity Lobos and my business page is Graceful Affirmations. Check that out whenever you get a chance. Can't wait till tonight's show. Back to you, Furman.
I'm looking forward to it as well tonight. Also, Crystal, go ahead and plug in your information. How can people get in contact with you? How can they support you? The floor is yours.
So you can follow me on Facebook at Crystal Smallwood, or you can type in hashtag Crystal Talks Cancer, and it should pop up different videos, and that'll show you my personal page. So I know a lot of people are like, which one is you? So you can find me under Crystal Talks Cancer. I actually have a Crystal Talks Cancer page, but I've been doing all the lives for Crystal Talks Cancer on my personal page. It just seems a lot easier to keep up with in so many ways. So you can follow both. Inbox me at any given time if you have a problem and you need support for anything. If I don't have the answer, I will do my best to find the answer or the solution for you within my means and resources, of course. And yeah, check your bodies, stay positive, and like we were just talking about, baby, keep your head on a swivel. Stay ready, so you ain't got to get ready.
Amen.
Hey, that's it. You stay ready. You ain't got to get ready. That's what's up. Like I said, we signing off. Me and Jay will be back tonight here at 7 p.m. We're going to be talking about the community and mental health. We're going to have Pat Locke back with us. We'll have Carl Roberts back with us. And we're going to have George Bush with us tonight as well. So we're going to talk about the community, mental health. Great topic discussion tonight, today, ladies. Thank you, Crystal. Thank you, Jay1, of course. Like I said, man, y'all be careful. You're going out on dates. Make sure y'all meet up in a public place. Take separate cars. Do that just because we don't know each other like that. I don't know. I'm not comfortable with just bringing you in my car with me, let alone. I remember back in the day. Guys, when you went over to your girlfriend's house, what y'all did? Y'all sat right in the living room.
Yep.
Y'all sat right in the living room. You didn't go to her room. You sat right in the living room. It wasn't no such thing going to her room. I remember you sat right in the living room and you talked on the phone. You talked on the phone in the living room while they was there.
At least you made it to the living room, baby. They was always outside. Right
Oh,
here
we
on the
sat
porch.
outside too. We sat outside the front foot, but you was gonna sit in that living room. They sat in that kitchen, but they were gonna be in that living room. You weren't going into her room. Hey,
Mm-hmm.
parents didn't pay that nowadays. Some
Let
parents,
them spend the night.
you know, it was no such thing. And I ain't, man. My mama for let me know. No.
But listen, my mama wasn't playing none of them games. Like I want to have a discussion when y'all get on that part. But baby, my mama was not. I wasn't having none of that. Who is this little boy calling his house? First of all, what
Who
he
his mom
want?
is?
Who his mama is? Where he done been over here before? Like all the
Mm-hmm.
questions, and I'm like,
Yes.
maybe we go to school
Oh,
together or something.
especially when it came to marriage. Man, I'm tell you something. The old school, them fathers, when they sit down and talk to you about their daughter, what they ask you? What's your plan for my daughter? What's
Yeah,
your
what is your
plan?
plan?
They did all that stuff. We need to go. I
Yes.
understand we don't have, and I know some ladies don't have their fathers in their life. Some may pass due to, and stuff happen. But I remember them fathers, they weren't playing. When you talk
Mm-mm.
marrying his daughter, oh, they gonna drill you. What's your plan is for my daughter? How you gonna take care of my daughter? How you gonna provide for my daughter? And if you didn't have those answers, he was not gonna let you do it. But that was smart though, because you got to think about it. When you have a daughter, and this guy come ask your daughter hand in marriage, the father would have made sure that okay, I want to make sure my daughter's gonna be taken care of. I want to make sure my daughter's gonna be in a safe place, and that
Yes.
she's not gonna be in harm, danger. We had that in our community. We need to go back to that. And I don't care what nobody says. I mean, time changed. No,
Yes.
yeah, time may change, but everything remained the same.
Hmm.
It's still in place. We just have to implement it back into place.
Yes.
But we'll have more discussion. We're
Yeah,
gonna have some discussion up there soon. So we better
yeah.
get signed off.
Don't forget about me when you have that
I'm not.
discussion because I'm
I,
ready.
I'm not gonna forget about that. I'll let you know when we have it. So, ladies and gentlemen, we're about to leave this thing, man. Y'all have a great Wednesday. Enjoy your day. Get out, enjoy working your goals, working your dreams, whatever you need to do. Most important is stay positive. So, we got this thing. Peace, everybody.
Peace.